it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys had a chance to look at the minutes?
I did approve. And second.
I did try to typo myself. I had 2016. I changed it to 2116.
Okay.
So, if,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, how about the 30? Still looking or?
I looked them over, I didn't see anything, nothing jumped out at me.
Have a motion approved?
That is,
Gary?
Second.
All in favor of approving the claims?
aye.
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 There you go.
Look at this, and after you're done, you can hand that to Rick. That's the conservation's little booklet they're putting out.
yeah, so we can get it published.
And the sheriff ain't here yet.
I think I stuck it there, but I believe he's coming.
He is, I thought he was, I seen him this morning, but I didn't talk to him.
So I think he has more than one. Did you guys want to look at the farm?
Yeah, why don't we?
New and
Is that claims report signed? I can take that back.
she's gonna take the blue one. Tracy, did you guys sign that one? Okay, then Gina.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the hell? Do that to me every year. Can you just now tell me when I send that?
Thanks.
Screen to get sent in over. New building.
I believe so. Last time I was over there was Friday, I did not go over there at all yesterday. I guess kinda I'm thinking my next project here, I'm gonna get that chain link fence out on the south side of the building, so right now they have to walk.
At least that's running.
Are
Okay.
you gonna take it out on the north side as well?
I think a guy should ask the neighbor on the north side
Yeah.
to see what his feelings are with the
There's
fence.
two of them there.
You know, I don't know him. Do you know him, Rick?
I know one, for sure.
Right north of the building?
North of the building,
Yeah.
yeah. Dale Henry lives in the one, the White House. So,
I just thought a guy should ask them.
I'm not sure who's in the other one. I would think it'd be easier for mowing
I would too,
on
but
all parts.
yes, yes, because I know, I said that we'd get the fence put in by the trees here to separate
Mhm.
for the garden guys.
Mhm.
We'll just reuse what we got,
Okay,
is my intention,
sure.
so. But I just thought on the north side of the building, just to be a neighbor, ask them, you know, maybe they still want it, like it, don't know. Good. Well, Larry, shall we start on?
You have that.
Yes.
It's got the picture. Gary, yeah, there. That's part of it. There's the other piece there.
Right. This is the other piece.
Oh, okay, buddy.
This is what what Larry gave us last week.
Yeah, Eagle View or pictometry is, we've had them in the past for our flights and stuff. We kind of skipped over last year, but they're looking at a proposal for a multi-project proposal, and the first part of the project would be, I'd have to look at the height of it. I know the blued out part of it's 3-inch. I don't know if the other is,
The other 6, wasn't it?
I can't remember if it's 6 or 8 or what it was, but anyway, it's a little bit higher flight and stuff too. So anyway, this part of the project that we discussed in conference board, this portion of the total is 182.70 is what the proposal was from them. So I guess that's the conversation. We had a conversation in the conference board, and pretty much all the units thought that was probably a good idea. The blue part there is primarily because that's where the storm went, so we would have more of the derecho area covered. They're looking at this fall's flight, so I guess that's the main part of the conversation.
Well, the derecho is actually a little bit south of some of that blue, isn't it? Like you've got Urbana in there, Benton, Garrison.
It could be, yes, but
Yeah.
once again, if you do that, that's gonna be a different proposal for if you're
Can
gonna
I
have
get
it.
in that front door up there? I'm supposed to have a tax appointment here
Okay.
this morning at 9 o'clock.
Okay, go around that way.
The door's locked.
He will come, the security officer will come down and let you in and screen you.
Pardon me?
There's a security officer that will come down and let you in.
Oh, what they do, just like knock on the door?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to bother you.
That's okay.
So it could be expanded if you wanted to. I mean, the contract isn't finished at this point, but this is just a rough line, and I think you'd have to confirm with the vendor, but I think it's like 2 miles south of 30 is the way it looks, but I'm not 100% sure, so.
Again, I didn't know if the whole thing would be shifted more to the south because, the southern part of the county is really wiped out. Whammy.
Right, but south of 30, it was not very extensive. I mean, I think a little bit of, we came to the bottom edge of where they would fly Garrison and Benton too, so, but you can't go farther down if you think. I mean, Tracy's probably just as much an expert in that as what I am, but south of 30, there's not very much damage. It really trails off at 30 or so, but, I mean, it was just trying to hit that area that was most extensively hit.
Sure.
Try to get, we're gonna have the removals and new stuff going in now and places that are vacant actually too, so.
I think it's fine, Rich, just the way you got it set, 2 miles south of 30.
And I think that's the way it looks there, unless that's I'm not 100% sure if those grids are a mile or if they're half-mile grids. You'd have to confirm that, but.
Gary, how is it around Blairstown? I mean,
The neighbor south of us lost their house and a barn.
what they're saying is just 2 miles south of Highway 30 is roughly where they're gonna stop that.
That'd be 2.5 miles south.
It's not that it's not gonna get, the pictometry, but it's not gonna be as close.
A mile south of 30 to 1.25 miles north of 30, all the light poles broke off and they're new ones. So Keystone was without power for 8 days, 9 days.
So they're pretty well in that realm that he's
Yeah.
talking. Okay.
There's they'd be in that, what's covered, there's people that have lost their house,
Okay.
you know. A lot of grain bins were gone, but that's in the,
I noticed that Mount Auburn's pretty much the only one that's not, got the 3-inch.
Mount Auburn and Luzerne don't, just because
Well, yeah.
they have to, well, probably hasn't been a lot of change.
Okay.
To do any spot, they have to do
a bigger
a
area.
bigger area. So yeah, if you do either one of those ones, it's gonna cost more, or you're gonna lose some of this other area. So it's kind of a value part of that. As I said, I don't know that we need to do those ones, because you're gonna have to have a bigger chunk of, 3 mile by 4 mile or whatever it happens to be to cover
Well,
around.
you usually drive them anyway, so I mean, if you need.
Yeah, in towns, we don't that much, but yeah, there's not much there that necessarily, so.
Luzerne is incorporated, Watkins is not, correct?
Yeah, Watkins we don't have on there, but Mount Auburn we don't have it incorporated town either, but it's, I mean, not on the other side of it, none of the towns are contributing anything to the flight either, so, but that's, typically we do the towns lower flight just so you can see more detail in them, so.
Only question I got, is it ironed out about 4-way split on the bill?
3 ways for sure.
Three-way
And I
for
talked to Larry a little bit this morning,
Okay.
but he said he could go up to 43.
45.
45.
The conference board said we had to for, basically it would,
For this year, for sure. I
take out
like
kind of
that.
whatever our part of it is the next 3 years. If we do the 45, then we wouldn't do the following 2 years, basically.
So keep it 45 for the next, for all 3 years, you think?
No,
Just the first year?
yes. Yeah, because Haley, if we had 3 years at 15, the 45 would equal that. We didn't think or know that people had stuff budgeted, so.
I talked with Scott Hansen, had it in there, Myron, he doesn't use it like we do, so. So that, between GIS, you and E911, we got it covered.
So if we do it a 3-way, that's perfectly fine. If
Okay.
that's- Yeah, if we can go up to 45, and then in the essence, at 45 total over the 3 years for us, however it works out, so.
Okay.
If we stay with this pattern here, which I think is fine, myself anyway.
I think it's good.
So if you do the 3, it's gonna be emergency management.
It's the E911. E911, not EMA.
Okay.
So the assessor's levy, E911, and then we'll pay it out of the general basic.
Okay. And you had mentioned GIS.
That's general basic, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So it's gonna be more of a 3-way split rather than a 4.
Mhm.
Okay, because I think.
But it's coming lower this year. It's lower than our payments were in the past, so we should be
But I
okay.
think the approval he got was for a 4-way split, not a 3-way, wasn't that correct? That's why you were.
Well, no, the approval I got was for up to 45,000, so if the county could only come up, all the entities could only come up with 15, we could come up with 45 this year in case it wasn't in their budget yet. But it sounds like 2 of the 3 have in their budgets that they can do either the 15 or the 20, so we can cover that. And then, the project that they have here basically has 2 of a similar type of flights. You can move the sectors around the second flight, but I can talk to Brian about that a little bit too, because basically what they want to do is have a multi-project summer. So you're kind of committing to 2 flights down the road, but 1 at this point, so.
So I guess my question is, at 182, if we divide by 3, that's just goes over 60,000 apiece.
But that's over 3 years.
3 years.
3 years, I get that. But no matter how you slice the pie, his portion that they budgeted is for 1/4, not 1/3, correct?
Well, that was the intention at the beginning of it.
Correct.
That's what we want to do. I think that's what we should do for the 3-year time frame. But this 1 year, we can do the 1/3 because we may not have budgeting in one of the entities, secondary roads.
Because that's what I was trying to get at, if we're looking at the other departments over the next 3 years, taking a larger share, making up $700 or $7,500 a piece, so that's what my question was. I realize it's all county,
Yeah,
I get that,
but what Myron evidently doesn't want it. Don't use it.
Well, he said he doesn't use it. I mean,
Yeah, he
and
don't
his
use it, so he,
portion was my, anyway, it was a little bit, but.
I know.
So I didn't plan for his this year. We'll just stay at the 3 ways, because we're good.
And again, it's coming all out of the county budget, I get
Right.
it, so. It was just how it was split up.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. So it's an action item.
Yes, it is, so do I have a motion to act on it?
You have to approve and sign that contract.
Yeah. I don't have it.
He's got it over there.
Okay. I've got a copy here, the proposal.
Yep. Well, I printed one
Well,
for you
this
too.
is the
That's it right there.
proposal, this is the actual
Isn't it?
contract.
Just right, oh, let me look.
Proposal.
All I've gotten is a proposal.
Yeah, I don't think this has an actual, let me look,
Yeah.
because it's Ryan Food. I think right now he's just looking to go forward, so if you guys approve it, then we'll get that. Yeah.
Okay. Gary, you wanna go forth with this?
Sure.
Okay, was that a motion?
Yeah.
All right. I'll
I
second.
second it. Okay, and this is by resolution.
No,
Oh,
just
not
a
yet.
formal motion.
Okay, all in favor for this proposed budget with Eagle View?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And then they'll be sending a contract then?
Yep, I'm responding to him right now. We approved
Okay,
it.
then that's all I need then. So, all right, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, Larry.
move forward, Barry.
Yeah, and the likelihood is that'll be the fall of this year.
Yeah.
And when I say that is because they do leaf off and no snow, so
Sure.
it all depends. Occasionally it doesn't work the way they want it to, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Larry.
I just got an email from Star Press that my budget publication, and I sent it in last Wednesday, and tomorrow's paper, that they apologize that the ad was changed and caused an issue, and it won't be able to be in there until the 17th. So I'm arguing back and forth right now. So I might have to change the budget until the 30th. And it's already in the Benton's paper today. So I'm trying to.
Well, it's not a problem if it's in Benton's.
Yeah, because it has a 23rd date, so then I'll have to republish and change the different date. They did this last year, so I already told them, I said, we won't use it as an official newspaper next year.
And we can change that,
Mm-hmm.
not just by the year.
Right. I think we can amend it within the year even. But for right now, like she said, why put in the Des Moines Register if that doesn't help me, because that's not our official newspaper.
Right.
So,
With regard to that, I think there is less than 10, I'll be safe, less than 10 subscriptions
to where?
to the Star Press.
I have no idea. We've had problems with them with our election stuff. They shrink. Some things can be shrunk and some things can't. So,
I think there's like 7 subscriptions.
Well, you said this in the past, but we also set it out for,
Yeah, then they're-
public pickup.
Yeah,
Is
they
that
can-
correct?
People
Yeah.
buy it,
Yes,
they just buy it when they want one.
sure.
But we have 4. So we have about half of their subscriptions at Blairstown.
Well, thank you for supporting them.
I mean, I'm sorry, but, I mean, the whole, it used to be that they were a local paper. They had an office in Blairstown and Belle Plaine, and
Sure.
they were all over. And now they're pulling out. I mean,
It's harder and harder for small town newspapers, it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Even Benton has a sister newspaper in Owine, so you'll see ads in the Cedar Valley Times for Owine and surrounding areas, just as they see them, or Benton and surrounding areas, so, yeah, it's
it's a tough deal for the paper.
It is hard, this internet thing is really bit into their publication.
And, the part-time sheriff. Since
is
he-
that one?
Well, that's what I thought so too, and
Because that letter's
Why don't we wait till see if he shows up, we can always come back.
Okay, okay.
I'll-
All right, item 7. You good?
Yeah, you guys wanna look at the application or just go ahead and approve
I
it?
think it'd be nice to see what we're talking about.
I don't think there were any that were flagged to deny, so we won't have to send any letters.
Oh, really?
Sometimes the people will apply and they don't qualify. Send them a certified letter, but
Okay.
Courtney already went through individually on the real estate system and we didn't see any problems. We double checked it after the assessor gave us the file.
Removals and reapps.
They gotta reapply every year?
No, only if something changed. They used to, but now it's just if like a corporation changed names or new owner bought or transferred to a grandson or something different, they have to reapply.
Sure.
Everything automatically carries over. But we still have to certify this, the family farm and ag land both to the state. And then they prorate by the school districts, they break it down, how much comes back on the taxes. So it's due by April 1st to the state.
If you're looking for a motion, I would make a motion that you approve. Second.
Okay. All in,
Farm and ag land.
yep, all in favor of approving the family farm and ag land credit?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Now, if they're done, they gotta be applied for by the end of March.
No, it had to be done by November. I think it says on the application when they're due by.
November 1st.
Those are kind of like commercial.
It'd be business property tax, right? Everything's based on the prior year's value. So like it's gonna go off of last year's value, and then they credit it. And I think the assessor mails out letters now when things change ownership to help remind them.
Gotta look at the work Tracy's been doing down the hall.
Down here. I did. I went down last week. She has a smile on her face.
That's good.
Oh, speaking of, I was thinking of Adam for WMA. He found, like October of 19, in one of the minutes, there was more than one action item under his, and it wasn't listed in the minutes, but it was on the audio. So I might have to just readdress it on next week's agenda or something. Just for formality, so.
One was missed or something?
A motion wasn't stated, I mean, he, like, sometimes he'll bring in 3 things, and one of the 3 wasn't listed in the motion. So, but it was on the audio that they discussed it, approved, so I don't know if it was my mistake or whatever, but it's so far back. I'm just trying to figure out what's the easiest to fix it, so. Well, they have all those grant requirements, so he has to double check everything.
See, we got our hall tree in here.
Did you bring that from
Yeah.
your crock in the courthouse?
Yeah, I gotta stop down and get it.
And you need to sign the books.
Yeah. I couldn't do that the other day.
That's
I was
fine.
busy. I might be able to do it today if we get out of here soon enough.
They'll be there. I just don't like to bring that back and forth.
On your item 12, I didn't have anything other than last Tuesday's meeting that we all attended.
How about you, Gary? You had some meetings, didn't you, last week?
And the week before.
Nothing?
Yeah, nothing.
Well, I had conservation last night. What do you want to say about that?
Were they happy?
I guess they understand the citizens' concerns about the roads and all that, you know. And I guess they think it's, I don't know, unfair or why they're doing this, you know, to help pay for the ground that they, you know, and I get both sides of the story, you know. I understand that people from Blairstown are not happy. They look at it like it's Blairstown's being a dumping ground, you know.
Well, as I stated before, I was a little disappointed that their funding fell through, but, you know, falls under, you know what happens.
You know.
So,
And I guess, you know, the locals down in Blairstown wanted to ask some questions to the board. Why didn't they haul the chips up there on the ground that they bought? You know, and then the board reported back to me saying they can't, because that's swamp ground and you can't dump them chips on, you know.
wetland.
Yeah,
It's
Can't-
common sense.
yep, can't do it, can't,
Right.
that's why it,
Mhm.
The whole thing is, it's out of county stuff. I mean, that's what's got the people.
You know,
It's not our county.
some of the comments that I'd gotten was about it coming from out of county, and, you know, I guess the roads are probably the bigger portion of the phone calls. I'm a little disappointed that maybe they didn't reach out a little further than just the adjacent property owners, because there really isn't that many adjacent that actually touch it. Benton County being the largest.
mhm.
So, you know, people within a 500-foot, you know, radius, you know, perhaps. I think like they do a land change.
Mhm.
You know, that's probably what it should have been. And maybe a letter if they couldn't get a hold of them. You know, going forth, maybe it's a little bit of a learning curve too, for conservation as well as us.
Mhm.
It's gonna be a while till they can haul again, the way it looks to me, with frost coming out of the road.
Have they stopped? They were supposed to stop when the roads got.
Friday afternoon they quit.
Yeah, they stopped.
Yep, Friday afternoon they quit.
But they gotta, I mean, if, they haven't hauled any gravel up at Hannah Lake yet.
They said they're gonna.
Well, I'm glad they haven't, because it would be I mean, there's water coming up out of the ground. They gotta wait till the frost is out. I mean, it's gonna, if they don't wait, it's gonna be a total mess.
Is this to the roads or to Hannon Park itself?
And
One truck went in the wrong driveway,
Okay.
loaded.
Yeah. Is that the one they had to get the wrecker out for?
No,
Okay.
that was a different one.
That's a different one.
Okay, 9:30 has arrived, and I guess we're gonna start a public hearing for maximum levy.
Yep, I provided each of you the resolution for maximum levy notice. It's for the general services and rural services, and there's the amount. This is the extra step that we have to do. It started last year. So I can't go above this on the next step, which you looked at what I proposed. I did not. So this has to be approved by resolution for us to go forward with our next budget hearing.
Need a motion to approve this?
Yes, I do, by resolution,
So
so.
moved.
Okay, Gary?
Aye.
All right.
And then would you guys want to
Was that
sign?
second?
Oh, second. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then, yeah.
We got you. Now we'll go. All in favor by resolution?
Aye.
Your shake, aye.
Seaman, aye.
Okay, and then if you want to sign one of them.
Okay.
So, like I mentioned too, if they can't get that in the paper tomorrow, I'm trying to pull some strings here with them, but I might have to change.
They better do it free then.
Well, they better pay me back for the Benton publications, because I'm gonna have to change that.
No?
Quite honestly, I doubt anybody pays anybody other than we pay the bill.
Yeah.
So, I might have to change the hearing until the
On
30th.
Aye, one of our names there
Yep,
too,
list
right?
them on the roll call. Mhm. But as far as I know, I'll use that same publication, so. Just change the date.
All right. You'll handle that then, I take it?
Yeah, I'm talking to her right now, so.
Okay. So I guess we'll close the public hearing, maximum levy?
Need a motion to close it?
Yes, I do.
All right, you got it.
All right. Maximum, public hearing for maximum levy is closed.
I'm gonna call Ron real quick.
Okay.
I was just thinking somebody should.
See that? Yeah. He might have got sidetracked this morning.
Well, like I said, he's seen me pulling in here this morning, so.
Hey, can we go ahead and act on your item for Gary Bascom? Okay. I didn't know if you weren't here. Okay, so do you know what rate it will be? Current rate that he's at for now? Okay, and then once. Okay, I'll just make that in the motion. Perfect, thank you. Bye. Okay, so they want to move Jerry Bascom from part-time to full-time status at the jail. He'll stay at the current pay rate that he's at, and then once he meets his 100-day or 120 days probation period and meets the requirements, then he'll increase his wage according to the union pay scale. So we just need a motion.
You got it.
One from Kerman,
Okay.
second by Gary. All in favor of the promotion from part-time to full-time?
Is that what it is?
Yep, Jerry Bascom.
Aye. Motion carries.
Is this Jeremy Burgess?
Jerry Bascom? No, he's
No,
not
I'm
coming.
sick.
No, that one, he's not coming. I already reached out to him. He was wanting to propose like accidental insurance, those supplemental, and I said we're already locked in for our fiscal year, so,
So that's done.
yep. He was gonna drive from Des Moines, so I thought I'd save him a drive and to get rejected, so. Ben is coming, but I did have the new application there too.
Yep. How about I look at it and then I'll pass it around. Shelburne.
I might have to do another current fiscal year amendment too. We have a contract for DCAP that's changing tomorrow. I'm gonna have a meeting with them. So if I have to change the spending authority, I might have to amend or play around with the service areas, but also with the Dana's building finishing and then the parking lot. We might have to move some spending between the two, like
Okay,
capital project stuff, so.
okay. Because like, approaches, sidewalks and all that, there's nothing in writing or stone or any
Mhm.
kind of estimate on that.
Correct. So,
The only thing we got so far is an estimate on the parking
I mean, we
lot
have
there.
so much in the funds balance, but as far as the spending, and then I know in Dana's, we have it in her capital project fund, but we also have it in the general 51 for
Okay.
transportation.
Okay,
So I think we can get by. I just might have to amend the areas a little bit.
okay. Cause like furniture, she won't need any furniture. She went and got a whole bunch of new desks in it, not new to her, from the transit from Lynn County.
Oh, yeah.
They
she
got
said
all
that.
new
Mhm.
equipment. She went down and got their used stuff,
Stuff.
which looks like new to me.
And I talked to Nate. He just finished up all the work, so he's giving me that this week
Okay,
for Edwards Plumbing.
okay. I like to see that.
Yep, I'll
before
share it with
goes.
you. No. Because that's kind of where I was at. I wanted to see what the bottom dollar was, where we
Mhm.
were at with that,
Mhm.
so. So then otherwise I think we're done with all the subcontractors, right?
Yep. This is gonna be Ben's guy that he's pulling for. You can look at the app already. As for inside the building, the only thing I got left to do is put a hand railing on in the bathroom.
That won't be bad.
No, I haven't gone to Cedar Rapids to get.
You mean the handicap one?
Yep, I haven't gone to, the ones I got on hand are either 4 foot, 5 foot, they're too long, you know what I mean? We brought it up there and like a 4-footer, looks like you could tie a horse up to it. You don't need it.
Thank you.
We met yesterday too with the wellness committee. Ben Bonarmy, Lori, and Beth Gator. So we're talking about with the secondary roads, a lot of them are the hardest to get because they don't have a computer, they don't have their personal emails to do that. So we're trying to implement something when they used to do like a quarterly security or safety meeting, but Chuck Goodman has passed away. So I don't know who's going to be doing those. but those were a required meeting, so if we could get them to somehow attend a meeting and maybe then take time and sit down with them, get them a username and password, because I think that's the biggest step, is for them to get that. Otherwise, I don't know how we're gonna increase that. Because it
I have
is,
trouble with that program.
well, and you can download an app on your smartphone. And they did change it, because last year a lot of us did all full steps, but then you had to take a screenshot and then re-upload that screenshot. They eliminated that step.
That's probably good.
But like if you go and get a massage, you can get your receipt. There's different pillars. And you just scan your receipt, that counts. You have to do the questionnaire. You have to have the doctor's office scan that physical note to ISAC themselves. That has to go through the clinics. So those are the two big things that we need to encourage. Otherwise, I don't know if you guys want to talk about disciplinary, like if they don't do it and the prices are going to go up, you pass those off on those that don't participate. If we have some kind of incentive, I don't know what. We're kind of at limbo. We don't know what to do.
Is there a step-by-step list of how to do this?
Yep, it was in your payroll stuffer last week. I think you have it on your desk.
That's what you gave us today?
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody got one of those last week.
All right, I'll take the time to look
Because
at
we
it.
have till October 31st to qualify. Because those renewal amounts will come out in December.
Okay. That's this thing. Okay.
Yep. And it would be your same username and password if you signed up last year. If. I said if. You guys gotta practice what you preach too. And then we also thought again too, one per department head, or like the sheriff's office has different areas there, maybe have one be responsible for those people under them and hold them accountable. So,
I wonder, is there any counties that are doing a really good job? In other words, they got 100%.
oh yeah, there's always counties that have better.
Maybe we should talk to their director on how to. 'Cause we're
There's
gonna-
lots of ideas what we can do, and even if we do an all-employee meeting and you say it's mandated, you still have those that don't come, or they still don't follow up with what we ask them to do. I mean, some are scared that if they fill out that health questionnaire, that it's gonna be held against them in future insurance policies too, but I don't think that's the intent, so.
Yeah.
Like they ask questions if you're a smoker, if you drink, and they ask, I'm talking about wellness, Ben, a little bit, giving them a heads up a little bit,
Okay.
so, yeah.
I did have a conversation with Deb this morning too.
Oh,
about
out there?
Secondary roads, so I think,
Was she willing to do that?
yeah, she
Good.
sounded actually pretty excited about it too, so I think there's at least a better chance. we
Yeah,
might
that's why I
succeed.
said that would be a
So,
huge group of them to get those guys out there, so.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to, we have an extra computer from where Alicia used to sit when we had 2 office managers, and I think I'm gonna talk with Ben once he gets back.
I
on
still
it.
have a lot of laptops left over from old elections too,
Oh, do ya?
so even if we do a day
Yeah.
and sit them all down with one and make them,
Yeah. Well, I've had a lot more interest, like I said, in the last week from some of the guys,
well,
so.
they're probably looking it over maybe,
Yeah,
good.
yeah, so I guess we'll just have to see kind of how it goes, but yeah, she seemed, I think she was able to get logged on and kind of learn how it works,
Yep.
so I told her,
It's not that bad once you play around in it.
Yeah, yeah, and if, if we have the interest, I think we can definitely get them.
To save on that. Mhm. I explained to them on and I have Katie Schmidt too coming, I think it's next week. She's the one that goes over the insurance plan, the Wellmark, so we can officially sign our renewal. So she's gonna come in person, so we can talk to her about, because I was explaining to them that partial self-funding, you know, there's gonna be a time where if we keep using that up, we're gonna have to pass that on to the employees. That deductible, keeping that deductible high or low, or, you know. Because we do have really good insurance.
Okay, Ben.
I talked with you guys about, I think it was in January when we approved the new committee members, committee members that were getting reappointed for the IRBM committee, that there might be one of them that was gonna drop off, and we were just gonna wait till he did to approve somebody else. So Mark Dressler got in touch with me last week, the week before, and said that he had officially moved out of the county now. I think they built a house over by Bertram, so he, without living in the county anymore and being further away, I think that makes him ineligible to actually sit on the committee. So I had somebody else apply or have interest in it last year that would, you know, I kind of planned on having him fill in if you guys were okay with it, you know, once Mark dropped off. So Jeff Ralston applied. Oh, it's been back in January, and I kind of had his application on file, and I was going to propose that we appoint him to the IRBM Advisory Committee and remove Mark now that he doesn't live within the county. So,
Jeff still interested in going on?
yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
good. So
Yeah,
you reached out to him?
Yeah, I talked to him the other day. I actually talk to him fairly frequently because he lives just south of Urbana, kind of on the road that goes east of the Oak Grove Church there. So we planted a lot of our IRBM plantings down in that area. So I've got to know him through that because he helps us maintain his section of ditch, and he does a lot of prairie planting on his ground and is pretty knowledgeable. So I think he'd be a good fit and provide good perspective, I guess, for the committee anyway, so.
So you need a motion to approve Jeff Ralston going on? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, yep.
All right, and to accept the resignation of Mark Dressler. You got it.
Okay, how about it, Gary?
Second.
That's what I like to hear. All in favor of the Mark Drosler resignation and appointing Jeffrey Ralston? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You got him.
Awesome. And I think I guess I've never really talked to you guys about it, but we do meet quarterly for the IRBM committee if you guys are ever interested in attending. I know our first meeting will be the 18th, or March 18th at 5:30, and we're gonna have it here in this room, just so that about that way we can socially distance a little better, and might have use of the TV for a screen and stuff like that too. So you're welcome to come if you're interested. Sorry to backtrack too, can we do that on the wellness committee? Did
You
you
got to.
mention to them that they wanted a board member to sit on that too?
Oh, I did not.
Okay.
Because I don't,
I know
we,
you guys-
I did, we didn't talk about that yesterday, but we did say, yeah. Yeah.
We were looking through the requirements for the wellness committee.
Yeah.
Which we had our first wellness committee meeting yesterday. I'm sure Haley told you, but they did request that one member of the board of supervisors be part of the committee.
I don't know that it's happened in the past, but yeah, they encourage it.
What do you think about that, Gary? Well, I'll jump right in there. I'd like to make a motion that you join that board.
I think I second
I
that.
think I got something going on that time.
I
Just
do.
thought I'd throw it out there. Not sure.
Hey, he got a new phone, so maybe he can download the
Yeah.
app.
Hey,
I
there
don't
we go.
think I can.
We'll show you.
I don't know how to do it.
That's on the wellness one on Gary, right? And yours is on the 18th?
The IRBM meeting is on the 18th.
Who's on that one?
It'd be,
I don't know that you've
there
been
isn't
for-
an actual member of the
Yeah.
board that has to sit on it or be
Okay.
a liaison for it. I just mentioned it if you guys are interested in coming to one, so.
Yeah. I was referring to the wellness.
Committee.
So was I.
That's why.
So is that-
Are you making that a formal motion then?
Well, he's, yeah, and I second it, so.
Okay.
Now you know how it works, don't it?
I know I talked with Lori yesterday, and I think we're probably, it doesn't have to be like exactly quarterly, but I think we're gonna shoot for June for our next meeting anyway, so we just met in the courthouse yesterday for it, so.
And yeah, we'd like to know too, if you guys want to try to do an all-employee this time meeting, where we feed them lunch and stuff, because we do have money that they allot for stuff like that.
I think it'd be smart.
But, I mean, we know with the harassment training we did, you guys already signed off on that.
Okay. Yeah,
But we
but
could-
everybody had their own
Yep,
filed up.
but we could incorporate, something as an activity that would count as one of those things for them as well.
Yeah, which I think would be really beneficial, because then as long as people attend, you know, we can go on and record that they were there, and then that'd give us a lot of points towards meeting the wellness goals and things, so.
We would have to have like a speaker or something coming.
So how many meetings can we have?
For the, well,
They have to have like a lunch and learn type of
yeah,
thing.
I'm gonna check, I'm gonna try to call Molly this week yet and see like, because 2 years ago, they let us do that more, where we could have bigger meetings and have somebody come in and speak, and then it would count for everybody. And if they would let us, and then I don't even mind if I have to do the recording, that would hopefully.
Right, if they let us get on there and fill that out for them.
Because I know they make you do like, what, 4 of those 8 or
Yeah.
8 pillars or
Yep.
something, so if we could even tackle like one aspect of it at every meeting, or 2 of them, you know.
Well, that one year we tried to make everybody go for a walk.
Well, they walk from their car and you go there.
Well, and we're gonna see too with secondary roads, like there's a lot of our guys that are doing this stuff already, that I'm gonna see if maybe there's a way we can record that and get it to count for certain things. It's just gonna have to be that Deb and I might have to find ways of recording that where,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and I know the sheriff's office has started a workout area now too, so. They got or I gave them a bike, and I know they got people giving them stuff, so.
The bike without a seat.
No, it's got a seat. Jeez.
I'll get a hold of the sheriff, because, you know, we've got some weight room equipment. that-
Well, he wants to be careful as
Leftover.
far as the hand weight, free weights, I don't think.
Leftover, they were people that have abandoned their units, that, you know, some of the stuff just goes to landfill.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'll talk to LaDonna over there, she's the one that's,
calling for a vote, are you?
Yeah, okay. All in favor of appointing Gary to the wellness committee?
Aye.
Aye.
You gotta ask for nays.
Okay, nays?
See, now it's official.
Yes, okay, you're on it, buddy.
Never
Now,
know what's in the board meetings. So.
and you might get to order lunch.
do we need to
No, I keep that on
John
file.
Henry on that? No?
Nope.
What's the date of the meeting?
We haven't said it yet, but I'll let you know. Like I said, we're shooting for sometime in June, just to try to space them out where we got nothing. And hopefully at that time, we can kind of evaluate on, you know, how many people have gotten done and what we need to do to, you know, get to people that haven't done it, so.
Yeah, we gotta, take into consideration this vaccination too. In other words, if we can wait and get more people vaccinated, we'll have less chances. It's kind of odd that they're requiring everybody to get together, and we got all this COVID going on.
But you're part of the herd that's not getting vaccinated.
Whatever. Everybody else gets vaccinated, and they ain't gonna.
You don't have to, right?
Right. They had a big deal on TV this morning about that. I mean, and it was, they were trying to scare people into getting vaccinated, and they weren't even truthful about what the medical profession says and what they were saying. It was completely goofy, whatever.
It's the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a show,
You take it for what it is.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks, guys.
Thank you,
That's all I
Ben.
had for today, so.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Might be in next week. I got multiple other things to discuss at some point.
Did you ever did that guy ever contact you? Or?
He hasn't yet. I sent him an email with the bid request, so.
Okay, I'll call him.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, because I don't think I got his number. Did you give me his number for sure? Because I sent it to the email he gave me. I know I've got the bid requests in from the other two places, so.
$641.
You sure you want to do that publicly?
No.
Or if you want me to show it to me.
Well, you don't care. I'll call him.
Yeah, just so we got it. I think I recorded it right, but, so.
Questions, but I'll get you a little bit later. What's the time?
Great.
When I'm done here, I'll be back in the office.
Hey, Ben.
Yep, we'll see you later.
What's
Skip this last part.
Yep, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Tracy, now that the snow that's pile out here is melting, do you think you need to reevaluate how far you're going to the north with that concrete?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I'm pretty close to where I was.
Okay, good.
160 feet that way, 120 feet that way, and then the approach, I would call it, going out to the street. So, I can double check it, but I mean, when I did it before,
I think you can just go out, CJ. You don't
Yeah.
have to wait for it. There you go, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Boarding.
Oh, he's gonna reach out to me for questions on, I think it's on the election law.
It keeps hitting the lights out there.
mm-hmm.
Hmm?
The hallway.
The wellness part wasn't really on the agenda, unless you cover it under old business.
I don't think that.
Old
is
business.
legal.
Well, I can formally put it on next week too. I might just put it formally on next week.
I think it was old business.
It was old business,
Yeah.
because, you know, I asked a couple weeks ago if she was coming back to talk to us.
For Katie, but she's not wellness.
That's-
She's,
that's not wellness.
she's
Okay.
our Wellmark renewal, like through group benefit part, or group partner benefits or
Okay.
whatever.
So this is different?
The wellness is different. It's through ISAC.
Yeah, but,
But ISAC is hired group partner, whatever they are.
yeah, but Katie's the one that's coming for the,
She's coming for our insurance renewals,
yes,
because if you guys change the plan, then we have to formally do it.
okay,
And I know you guys had questions between the
Yes.
different plans, and
Yes.
then with our partial self-funding.
correct. That's the gal I wanted to talk to.
Yep.
I'll tell you what,
Hi, Myron.
any questions about the, taking that stuff out to the dump site? He's probably seen it. The road.
Oh. I don't know if Myron's been down there much or not. I know Randy has, down in Blairstown.
Yeah, you were talking about earlier this morning. Half my morning has been multitasking this morning. I
Okay.
was working on my desk and listening to your
Okay, yep, yep,
little bit of earlier part, so.
yep. Have you seen how bad it is? We're at 10 o'clock, but we're a minute or two.
Yeah, I went that way home last night.
Okay,
and yeah, I've had reports for Randy. Actually, I think he was monitoring things daily last week. You and I talked on the phone, but I don't know what was all fully talked about earlier. When they started last week, they used the rock road, but the contractor had a representative on site and told each one of those drivers as they were leaving that here's the route you're going in, here's the route you're going out, and those trucks continued, then ran the route that we preferred from there moving forward. The following day, there was a truck stuck in the road by that driveway. Their drivers are borderline between incompetent and poor drivers. I don't have a problem saying that.
I saw where the tracks.
They have this super wide driveway and they cannot figure out how to get in it without catching the side of it numerous times.
They drive like they're driving a car.
But they got stuck in the road that prevented them from going south. So the last round of the second day had to use the rock. Otherwise, they've been using the pavement, going past the landfill, past Cannon, and then that stretch of rock along the county line, turning at the T to get into that pile. Friday, the pavement started breaking up in places, and I had contacted Shelby and asked if they wouldn't cease operations. I understood that they were probably in the middle of something at that point and they could finish that round out. She got things shut off in Cedar Rapids and they just completed that round with this extremely warm weather this week, as well as the rain that was forecasted for tonight. And this weekend I had concerns that I felt this week would be a huge hindrance to the road problem, and assess things at that point. And that's where we're at this point with that.
If I may ask, while we're on the subject of roads, you did last week go up to Urbana, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And maybe that's under your reports, but Myron's here.
I guess, yeah, I was gonna talk to Myron later on, one-on-one, how I
Okay.
discussed with the locals, and then I even talked to one of the contractors
Yep.
on Wednesday, so
That's fine.
I wanna, to make it fair, I wanna talk to the other contractor that's hauling in there and kinda run my proposal by him
Sure.
to see if he's interested in it,
Okay.
and then I will report
Okay.
verbally to everybody else.
Because that was, 2 years ago, that was quite a problem area with, frost going on. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Secondary
Okay.
Roads is monitoring that also, as you say, at the moment, things look fine, but, I don't know, frost-wise, I know the dust control issue brought up last year, and I've been contacted by the DNR on how that could be addressed.
Okay. Well, Myron, I got you sidetracked, so
It's all right, figured it was gonna come up at some point this morning.
Imagine
Either way,
that.
It was before or after, I guess, looking at the clock, it worked to do before. I have 2 utility permits to present to you. Actually, one, I'm not sure if it really needs to be a utility permit, but I guess regardless, I think it's worth bringing up. Let's start with Lumen. Lumen is now what I think the official name for CenturyLink.
Really?
US West, Quest, Ma Bell. How many more times can we change it, I guess, before the next generation's upon us? But out here south of town on the Garrison pavement, they need to run a phone line from the tower that's on the south side in that first mile off west of 218, about 1,000 feet plus or minus to a pedestal they have on the north side of the road. Depending on what the ditch conditions are, they're either gonna plow it in or bore it in, but everything short, straightforward, you say, you don't anticipate any problems, nor do I have any reason to not recommend that they be approved for that.
I have a motion to approve the permit for the Lumen in Taylor Township. Okay,
And second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go, we got one done.
I don't mind. If you want to put in today's date, otherwise I'll fill it in later.
What on you? Gary? Or started again? Okay.
3/9.
That-
Now,
The other one is.
now,
The other one is for Windstream Communications. Um, 6 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, I don't know. I got a permit request from Windstream Communications. They wanted to bore their fiber line, or their communication lines from a mile north of Newhall on 27th Avenue, south to Newhall, come up out of the ground, use poles through the city of Newhall, and then go back underground to go south of Newhall to Highway 30, and then east on Highway 30 for, what, 3/4 of a mile. About the time they made that request, I learned that the contractor doing the work, attaching the line they have to the poles, was doing a bunch of that work from private property without private property owners' permission. They started out with the, we can do this because we're allowed to. After learning that they didn't have that, they then tried to seek property owners' permission, and were denied, I believe. And I think they have then been doing what work they have from ladders and from the road right away. Well, I asked the representative from Windstream in the Hiawatha office what was going on. That was all new to him, news to him, and he contacted that contractor, according to my information, thinking they would address that issue. But then also told me that there were some budget constraints and that they were no longer looking at underground, they were going to go overhead from that point to Highway 30 that I just described. And so that request has just come in now. Their design engineers are from their, I don't know if it's from a firm or their corporate office, but they're coming from out of state, Little Rock, Arkansas. And I'm not sure if the local office and the engineering office, corporate office in here, Arkansas, have been communicating, because for the last 6 weeks, I've been getting a weekly email from Arkansas saying, what's status on my permit? I'm like, your permit's still asking for underground, and the local office is telling me they can't do that funding wise, and they're going overhead, and we're gonna redesign the sheets and we will be resubmitting. They have now resubmitted. As my understanding, they have talked to the subcontractor and talked to them about that. They say that from my understanding. And so, you know, moving forward, because they're just gonna use existing poles, I would say that technically they're just asking permission to do work in the right of way. It wouldn't be a change from what they're doing, and the utility permit's probably not necessary. But I also know there are some rural residents that have some concerns with that project, and so if nothing else, it's a great topic just to bring to your attention this morning.
So
They
the,
do have a utility permit, but they are, like I said, they are now proposing more or less to replace that line that got damaged from the windstorm on the existing poles with new line. And it's gonna be hanging on existing poles versus going underground, which is what they were going to propose to do 2 months ago. They'll still need to seek approval from the DOT. My recent note to them is, because of the ordeal concern around Newhall, that they should probably contact the city of Newhall and just let them know and get their blessing. You know, it's attaching it to existing poles, it should have minimal impact on the city of Newhall, but I had told the city of Newhall, city council here earlier this winter, that what was submitted to them being the city of Newhall, was a DOT permit requesting that whole run. My guess is that if Arkansas pulls up a Google map or a big map, that it looks like it's maybe a still state road 287 between Highway 30 and Newhall, and then some of those maps that extends, and they thought they were probably needing to seek permission from the Iowa Department of Transportation in Benton County. And so my suggestion, recommendation to the city of Newhall is don't sign that form, because it's the incorrect form, and it's not the right jurisdiction that needs to be requesting permission. So I went ahead and have a utility permit to present to you if you're interested in taking action on approval on that, knowing that what they're requesting at this point is on existing poles, electrical poles, putting underneath that, running from the curve north of Newhall to Newhall, and then from Newhall to Highway 30.
So how high are these lines gonna be off the pavement?
If they cross the road or pavement, you mean?
Well,
Otherwise, it's in the right of way.
even like, farmsteads and stuff.
The only farmsteads they're gonna cross would be, Benazen's new house, next north of Newhall, and then, Bob Kester's, which his building site's further away, and Craig Olson's.
Okay,
'Cause it's on the east side of the road.
okay,
I have asked for 20 feet
okay.
generally, and those poles appear to be tall enough poles, and there appears to be enough. I don't know what the clearance minimum is between a cable line and the electrical bottom line is, but looking at some of their installations, it looks like, you know, that they could be adjusted at those driveway crossings and certainly at road crossings to maximize that height to the best of their ability.
See, in the last couple weeks, they just finished up from 218, the line that I told you that was drooping. They replaced that with a new line again, and they're up to the curb now.
They've been working on 22nd Avenue also, that they had submitted permit-wise last year after the storm. That runs from Van Horn north and south, some direction, and some of that was underground, some of that was overhead.
Now, that was one of my questions, I guess, it was brought up to me. How long is a permit good for? ICE is only 365 days probably, ain't it?
Generally speaking, that's how we've intended that to be, although I'm finding, depending on utility organizations and how they're set up, sometimes larger ones are asking for a permit well in advance of when the work's done. ITC Midwest, just as an example, nothing negative about any of their work, but to make a comparison, the Highway 21 interchange project, and knowing that they had to redo some of that activity, I think started back in 2019. And they're out there conducting that work right now, or as soon, because they're staking things out. And so, whereas I take a local utility, and many times what they're asking for in advance is next week's work or next month's work.
So how do you handle, like on Highway 21, their permits expired, they gotta get a new permit, or what goes on there?
I don't know how the DOT handles theirs. I mean, I'm certain theirs is probably a 12-month cycle also. If that 12-month comes up and haven't done the work, then you resubmit the permit. You know, there's no cost there, it's just a review type deal, and then that you're changing the date. You know, if the planned activity is the same from day one as it is to the date, you know, after that permit expires, it's just gonna be a signature and minimal time on processing paper, you know. More importantly to me is, did somebody take the time to make that request and understand what is expected for the work to be done? And if it's 6 months or 18 months later, you know, that is a little bit less of my concern than somebody that's out there doing work and hasn't requested a permit and isn't doing it the way we need it and want it to be done.
This is 2 years past the date.
Maybe a year and a half,
But
probably.
it's
or
the
so.
DOT.
Are you looking for a motion on this Windstream? I'll
Yes,
make that
please.
motion. Second.
All in favor of the Windstream permit for El Dorado Township? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah,
You opposed it?
yes, I am.
Okay.
What's your grounds for approval?
I don't think you have to state it.
No, I don't have to state it, but I've been dealing with them all fall. Meyer knows all about it.
Oh, outlier.
Didn't know if that was a debate question.
I think, you know, like the crew that the problem was, they're
Mhm.
gone now. This crew that's back here now and finishing it up is a better crew. And I'm hoping they'll continue on now from there to Newhall.
And with it being on existing poles, so they're not boring and
Yeah.
punching, so it should be a much simpler scenario.
Yeah, but I mean, it started off that the group was kinda like,
I say
we can do anything we want to.
The group has changed and the scenario's changed as far as stringing the line, you're still voting nay?
Yeah, I still am.
Okay. Just ask.
Yes, I am.
It might change again. You know,
You might get the same gang back in there, so.
it was last year for the fiber line that gas company ran, one of them, cross-country. The crew that they had out, that I met with as they were getting started, coming out of Blackhawk County line, was, in my mind, excellent and addressed all of our concerns. Corporate thought they were taking too much time and addressing too many things, I believe, with private entities, and 6-7 miles down the road, they took that crew out and sent other people in, and that's where problems started, you know, and
Sure.
it was not getting issues addressed to my liking as well and as quickly as we had to begin with, so crews change and things change.
I'd like to be kept, if the crew changes or whatever, I wanna know what's going on.
Works both ways, I just, you know, now we got a great crew, you know, it sounds like, but I had a sour taste and issues at one point, so you're still hesitant and concerned, you know, and if a new crew comes in and they perform like this one is, you start having less of a concern, but.
The problem is, if you, they're moving these crews around, obviously they are.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some bad crews, and if they're gonna, they'll move them in. I mean, they're gonna move them in, or they'll follow this good crew.
And maybe they've learned the issues that were a concern and have changed their type of operation, and those issues won't come up again. I don't know, you know, there's certainly that possibility too. But I got the feeling when I talked with the local representative that he was going to get on it, and I think, based on what I'm hearing today, I think that's probably why there's been a change. But I haven't been in contact with him directly. It's been electronic messages at the moment. Because knowing that with snow melting, that type of activity is going to be happening here relatively soon, I'm sure. No, related to that, I think, probably on the county line between the Fry property and the end of the pavement at Hannon. 24 inches down, I think Randy said with the tile probe, he hit a solid layer of frost that he could not drive through. Taking the tile probe, he could pound down 2 feet. I think it was 27 inches up at Urbana, same thing. How thick that frost layer is at 24 to 27 inches down, but he can't get through it. I think that's actually the area that we cored out just south of the landfill around the curve. That was what he encountered there. Is that
You did core that out already?
that one spot.
Really?
Friday afternoon, we cored some of that out and put some 3-in-1 type rock down at the bottom and then capped it off with roadstone on top. And so
Okay.
that's why the road has rock on it and some barricades there just south of the curve there, south of the landfill.
Okay. Alrighty, well, thanks, Myron.
Yep.
Myron.
Yeah.
Your question yesterday that I didn't get back to you, but I was just gonna bring it up today. North of Blairstown, the Pioneer Cemetery area.
Oh, yeah.
Last time we talked about this here, my understanding was I agreed to pay for it, but I think there's a property owner, the university, somebody else all want to be present when it's there. If secondary roads can know about it, if we can be there, I will tie that stuff in. If I can't, if they could just put some flags where the 4 corners are, I'll run down there just to do GPS points, so that it can be easily referenced later if that property owner doesn't want anything out there. Right now, I'm hoping that, a small tile flag or something would be acceptable for a day or two there, and we could remove that when we're done. But I thought either the cemetery, Pioneer Cemetery representative, or somebody in that group, so to speak, was coordinating this. But shortly after that meeting, I got an email saying, when are you setting this up? Because I need this person to know, this person to know. There's more people on the other end that need to know what's going on than on my end. And so go ahead, set it up. Right now, I can't tell you for sure whether we can be there at the day or not. We got 2 bridge projects going on, and sometimes their morning plan changes in the afternoon. Yesterday, contractor said, we're not gonna do much, and Ben's like, I'm gonna get caught on paperwork, caught up, and then at 1:30, I seen him grabbing his coat. I said, what happened? He said, they changed their mind. They headed out the job site, and so, my response to when are we gonna do it, let them go ahead and get a hold of who that individual is that's gonna come out with sonar and do the investigation, and if the property owner and others that need to be and want to be present, you can contact them, let me know what date that's gonna be, and if we can be there, we'll be there. If not, if and what they find, if they wanna just, like I said, kinda mark it out with a few tile flags, I'll go down and at least earmark where that area is, like was mentioned, that it can be identified in the future, however that might work out between the county and that property owner. Is that not how I thought things were left?
That's the way I understood it.
Can I say that I know that the email that I had and the question I had yesterday sounded like, when are we setting that up for?
Yeah.
Wasn't setting it up, but I'm not disagreeing with it, and I'm not agreeing to pay for it, but I wasn't coordinating the activity of that operation.
It was kind of, I'm kind of in the dark too, because I thought that the Pioneer Cemetery Commission was gonna set it up. And then they called me like, when are you gonna set this up? And nobody ever asked me to set it up, ever.
I didn't think it was the same on my end, and I agreed to participate in the cost, because if it potentially is in the area that we might think about purchasing, then we won't, you know? Or work around it, you know, do what we can. You know, it's certainly a concern from that standpoint, but there's more individuals, it sounds like, with Pioneer Cemetery, the property owner, the actual individual doing that needed to be coordinated. It would be far easier for that group to set the date and contact those people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just one call versus 3 or 4 or 5 or however many they have on their end, and just tell me what's gonna happen, and if we can make it happen on that day, I will. If not, more or less tell me what you got, what you found, identify it, something with some minor markers, and give me a day or two, and I'll capture that stuff just so we can have it, and I'll put it back like you had it, and the property owner, you know, can continue doing what he's doing with that parcel.
It might be good for you, if you can, to attend for the property owner's benefit. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
but,
Somebody on his staff. It wouldn't
Yeah.
have to be Myron.
right,
If you had Randy do it, or
Yeah.
Ben, or,
And that might be possible. I would say, right now with the suggestion that we captured the GPS points based on where the area is.
Mhm.
I have one individual that runs that equipment right now, and if that person's needed out on a job site, that's where that person's gonna be if that falls exactly on that given day. Now, if somebody just need to be present while that's being done, that's a different story, and somebody from secondary roads could probably attend that exact time.
I'm sure they don't wanna do it right now, as muddy as it is.
yeah, does frost bother them?
No,
No, it didn't sound like snow was
No,
bothering them
yeah.
either.
that's why I couldn't believe it didn't get done yet.
Frozen ground, no, none of that would impact what they're doing, from my knowledge, but like I said, I think that both of what you're hearing and I'm hearing, that somewhere between the last discussions and now is that somebody has the understanding or assumption that the county is coordinating that activity, and
Yeah,
it wasn't my understanding, it was just the payment of.
and I think you're 100% correct. I don't understand really what's going on exactly, and I'll get to the bottom of it. That is a township line there. So if in fact the cemetery is gonna be a problem with the road, there's a same landowner owns both sides of the road. I don't know if in fact it's possible to keep the road straight further on, or what your thoughts are on that, but, I guess we'll have to deal with that once we find where the cemetery
Yeah, I was
is.
gonna say, once you know what you're dealing with, it'll be a lot easier to answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's all I have.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
That's
thank
funny.
you, Myron. I'll get in touch with them folks.
Star Press just responded, since it didn't make it in, they can't do anything about it, but she's waiving the fee. So I will need a formal motion to amend the hearing date from the 23rd to the 30th, and that will be covered under the 22 budget work.
So moved.
Question with that.
Mhm.
What if you dropped it in the Gazette? Can you make
It's
that?
not, we didn't name them as official newspaper.
I get that. Can we do that?
I don't think so. I think you'd had to have done it prior to that because we listed it up as an official newspaper.
Prior to,
Mhm.
okay.
But I really am truly thinking that might be an option for next year for sure. I don't know if we can change it within the
That's what we
year,
were talking about.
Yeah.
that we should-
but I don't technically have it on the agenda to change official newspapers today. I have it for the budget work.
But you can find that out if we can.
I
and
think,
maybe
because
throw
it is
in.
very hard, especially with election rules too.
Sure.
I mean, I'm just glad it happened this week where I had a week's leeway
Yeah. So that's gonna be changed.
from the 23rd to the 30th, and let me look at the date, for the time, I mean. Hopefully I can still do 9:30. And I will be gone, but it'll be fine, because it's just, unless you make big changes. The only thing I think we may do is reduce the mental health, which I talked with Mona, and I may go ahead and do that with this new publication. Because I put 610,000 to levy for, and the rest pay out of the fund balance, but they're thinking I could reduce that even more. So if I change that, otherwise we could change that at the hearing.
Okay. All right. So I would second.
Okay,
From the 23rd.
from the
Yep.
23rd to the 30th.
And 9:30 will still work, so.
30.
Okay,
Mhm.
keep it closed up. Usually we can get out of here.
Mhm.
All in favor of changing the
Budget hearing, fiscal year
budget
22 budget
hearing?
hearing.
Yep. From the 23rd to the 30th, right? Yep, 23rd to the 30th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
And that was out of my control, so
Yep, understood.
it's just frustrating.
Yep.
Because was it 2 years ago I had to get an extension because of them as well?
Mhm.
So, are you gonna check to make sure that this is published, this go?
Well, this, I'm talking to the bigwig right now, and she said she will make sure she gets that, which we include her on most of those emails. She's the one that's waiving the fee. But that doesn't always make it okay. We've had a lot
Anything else, sir?
of problems.
Nope, that's
So-
it. So
I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
one quick thing, that I had a meeting last Wednesday with 4 other people over with the county attorney about,
Yes. Mhm.
and that went well. We're
Oh,
meeting
HR.
again tomorrow, yeah, for the HR. We're gonna meet tomorrow again, so I'm happy so far.
I got another proposal too, I'll bring to that.
Okay,
What time is it tomorrow?
10 o'clock, right here. So, happy so far, what was discussed, so.
Because this lady that I just got, well, yeah, we'll discuss it tomorrow.
All right, now I will take your motion,
All right,
please.
you got it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.